Welcome to another episode of Brand Out. I'm your host today, Casey Lambert, and with me is the BrandFather himself, Tony Nash. Tony, say hi.
Hi, everybody. I can't match your energy, man. You're incredible at this. I should let you host from now on.
I don't know where my energy is coming from right now.
It's the chamber thing we're at this morning.
But if I do know one
you need
thing,
a zoot suit.
if I do know one thing, it's that today's topic is going to supercharge you up. You ready? You ready to introduce it?
Clever. No, you go ahead.
All right. So today we're talking about the brand of Tesla. You excited for this, Tony?
Oh, okay. I love to get into this one.
Right. So Tony, admittedly, is not a big Tesla fan. Is that correct?
Never have been. No. I think Elon Musk is cool. He's kind of an eccentric guy, but Tesla, the idea of electric cars just doesn't do it for me. Like, I'm a big car guy. I love American muscle. So driving around in a battery operated vehicle, like it's a golf cart, just doesn't do it for me.
Right. So, and we're going to get into all the ins and outs. We're going to get into the power. We're going to get into the politics, but most importantly, we're going to get into the polarization.
Wow, you're like a Baptist preacher over there, alliterating.
I am alliterative.
Power,
today.
politics, and what was it? Polarization?
Oh, yeah.
That'll preach.
Which totally makes sense, though, because admittedly, as much as you are a contrarian to what Tesla stands for, I'm kind of a brand champion of what Tesla is doing.
It's not necessarily what they stand for. It's just, I don't like electric vehicles. Teslas in particular, I don't think they're very nice. I call them a beta mobile. I've just never been a big fan. So it's not that I don't like what they stand for. I mean, the idea of saving energy and all that good stuff, that's fine and good. I just don't like electric vehicles. Right. Tesla's like the electric vehicle company.
Right. So I totally get you. And we're going to continue to polarize throughout this episode. So if you guys like arguments, this is probably going to be a good episode for you. So let's just intro this a little bit, right? So Tesla, when they first debuted, they brought with them kind of that new identity, right? They weren't branded as a car company. They were branded as a Silicon Valley tech company that just so happened to be dealing in cars. So in a way, we could say they disrupted the industry when they first came on, but now they're kind of disrupting everything else when you think about it, right, Tony?
Sure, absolutely. I think that the idea of electric vehicles has been around my entire lifetime and probably before me. But I think from my memory, Tesla was the first one to kind of come out and put a car out that was electric that people thought it doesn't look too bad. It had really cool features. It was like a computer on wheels. It was all about the technology. So yeah, I think it was an experiment that some people love and some people hate.
Right. And we can't talk about Tesla without, of course, talking about Elon Musk, who I don't think he founded the company, but he definitely brought it to the new heights that it is. And it was really taking that brand. And I can't help think about, when I think about Tesla, I think about Nikola Tesla, right? Yeah. Famous innovator, inventor. We all know about the Tesla coils, famously played by David Bowie in the movie The Prestige, which is, if you've never seen The Prestige, definitely watch it. And if you are a fan of Labyrinth and David Bowie's part in that, you probably like his character of Tesla in that. But we're talking about Elon Musk, right? Tech pioneer. At that time, he wasn't quite the rich multi-billionaire that we see him as now, but he was on a pretty good arc of upward trajectory. And he decided to take that tech approach that he had, bring it into the car company and really innovate. Because like Tony had said, right, we have a concept in electric vehicles that wasn't quite there, right? It was like flying cars were when they first started to go to concept. But Musk took the Silicon Valley innovation, put it into the cars, and really went, this isn't for the Tony Nash American muscle guys. This is for the tech bros of Silicon Valley.
I can see that. This is not me.
Yeah, who want to champion that they care about the environment, or they want to champion
innovation. At one point, it was
innovation.
for people who cared about the environment. Mm-hmm. No longer, because of I know you're going to get into the politics, but all of a sudden, Elon decided to support Trump, and so now it's no longer about the environment anymore. It's about the person who is behind it, which is funny to me.
Right, and we'll get more into that. Right, we'll get more into that. But I want to talk a little bit about Tesla's comparison to Apple when it comes to leading innovation tech companies.
Okay.
Right. So Tony Nash is a big Apple guy, right?
I'm a fanboy. A fangirl, some might say.
So let's ask this question. Why are you such a big fan of Apple?
Well, I like Apple just because it works. You know, for years I was a PC guy. I was a BlackBerry guy. I never had an Android. So, you know, I crap on Android phones a lot because of the green bubbles.
Right.
And I will till the day I die. So, but I can't say that I know what using an Android is like because I never had one. I went from the flip phone to the BlackBerry to the iPhone. And it actually all happened when I moved to New York. And I was really big PC guy. And my boss at the company I worked for was a big Apple guy. And he's like, why are you carrying that HP or whatever, Gateway or whatever it was I had? Oh, this thing just works. It's just the best. That's what I've always been told. It's like, dude, you got to try a Mac. I'm like, nah, I'm not a Mac guy. I'm not going to. And I believed everything that everyone told you. You know, they're harder to use and all this stuff. And so he's like, well, if I get you an iPad, will you use it? So he got me an iPad. I love the iPad. And then I upgraded I remember I had a BlackBerry and I went to the phone store and there was a guy holding an iPhone and he said you could play YouTube videos on it. I'm like, if you play a YouTube video on that phone right now, I'll buy that phone. And so he showed me it could play a YouTube video. I'm like, I'm sold. So I switched to iPhone. So now I had an iPhone and an iPad and they just worked so well together. Like they just communicate to each other without ever having to plug anything in. You walk in the room and they're like, hello each other. And they just, you know, they work together. And so then I'm like, all right. So then I got the MacBook, then I got the iMac, and then I got the AirPods and the Apple Watch and the Apple Pencil and all the things. And every time a new product comes out, I'm like the guy that's like super excited about it. Upgrades when it's not necessary. But if you ask me why I like Apple, you know, I think they look sleek. It's a quality product. It's built well. It's not cheap plastic. I mean, I think it's a very high quality. You do pay a lot more money for it, but at the end of the day, it just works. Apple products work. They very rarely fail me. And not only do they work together. So once you're in the Apple ecosystem and you have all the things, it makes work so much more efficient and streamlined. And as a creative person, it's really built for me. And so that's why I like Apple.
I love that. And that's a really good explanation. And now I have to ask myself this. Then why aren't you a fan of Tesla? And well, I know you mentioned like the American muscle thing.
It's pure and simple. I think they're very cool. The tech side of me, the guy that likes new, fancy, shiny technology, it's cool to look at. Like it's like a showpiece. So I don't mind like looking at one. And my friends get one, and look, you know, you get inside of it and look at the huge screen and all the things. It drives itself and it does all these things. It's so cool. But to me, it's like it's just kitschy. It's just it's like I don't know. Like I said, I like the sound of American muscle.
Right.
And so, you know, the technological side of it, I think is cool, but I could never, ever see myself owning a Tesla or any electric vehicle for that matter.
Okay. And that's fair enough. The only reason I asked that, Tony, is because everything you described that you like about Apple is the main reason why Tesla has built such a cult following around their product, right? So
I agree.
We know that Tesla's only appeal to a certain sect, right? It's the high income level needed. It's the understanding of technology needed. Tesla isn't out there to solve the world's energy problems. They're there to push a product that appeals to a certain sector, right? Marketing and branding 101.
Driving a computer.
So me, like I don't own a Tesla. I don't really ever aspire.
Would you buy a Tesla?
If I had the money for it, yes.
You would.
And I would. And it's for all the reasons that you said that you're a fan of Apple, right? You have your integration pieces, right? I can control my car on my phone if I want. The self-driving updates that are within it. But really the big drawing factor for me, and this is kind of like the next section that I wanted to get to in our discussion, is actually the raw power of Teslas.
They are fast. I mean, off the line, the top end speed, you know, is a little different, but off the line, it's like, you know, it's just geared like you hit the gas and you're gone. So it is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
but again, it makes zero noise. It's
that's a
supercharged golf cart.
So Tony, you know,
does that sound accurate? Do you think?
Probably.
Okay, good.
Tony, you know this. Not everybody out there knows this, but I used to work in cybersecurity.
Yes.
So a lot of my job was spending time at tech conferences, spending time with CISOs and CTOs. That's Chief Information Security Officer.
I was wondering
and
what a CISO was.
Yeah, I'm an acronym guy. You get it.
Indeed.
But was spending time at these conferences, getting to know these people, and I swear every one of them had a Tesla. So I got a chance to drive in some, I got a chance to ride in some, and it was my CEO at BitLift, Jason Miller, who first introduced me to the power of a Tesla. So I just happened to ask him, how fast can this thing go? And I remember we were at the crossroads of I-75 in Maumee, Ohio. And he said, hold on to your seat. And I didn't believe him, right? Because we grew up in Michigan.
Right.
We grew up with the great muscle cars, right? My dream car has always been a 67 Mustang Fastback.
So I'm a 72 Chevelle guy, super sport, red, turret, black racing stripes, blacked out wheels. Yes.
Exactly. And it's, if you ask us, it's the power with the vehicle. Yes, it's beautiful and it's sleek.
The craftsmanship, like it feels like America to me. Like it feels like it's Americana. And like, so driving me and my dad grew up going to car shows, and one of the most impressive things is looking under the hood and seeing that engine, and you just don't have any of that in a Tesla.
You don't. But what you do have is the incredible 0 to 60 and 0 to 100 horsepower that you get with an engine that pushes more than 800 horsepower. And when I say hold on to your seat, Tony, it is throw you back in your seat.
No, I've been
power.
In them. I've been in them. Absolutely. It is impressive. So listen, I want everyone listening to understand. There's no doubt that Tesla is impressive. There's no doubt that Elon Musk is one of the most impressive human beings that has ever lived on the face of the earth. I mean, his first thing I think was X.com, which became PayPal. He's involved in SpaceX. He's got a rocket that goes to space and it comes out and catches itself. Obviously, the Tesla, all the things that he's done. He is a super genius, and I'm highly impressed by the things that he's done. So I'm not just a hater, but the whole idea, maybe it's the brand of electric vehicles in whole. The fact that it's being pushed down our throats. I'm from America, or from Michigan, Motor City. So as a car guy, this idea that electric vehicles are going to save the world, understanding that what it takes to build the batteries for these things and how much diesel is used to make these things. And it's really not, in my opinion, not reducing the carbon footprint at all. Not a scientist. So, that's just Tony Nash's opinion, all found in my Wikipedia, YouTube research, ChatGPT, but I just don't like it. And so I have always referred to them as a beta mobile. Like, I just think like the guy, I just feel like you drive a Tesla, you're a beta.
A lot of people
you're a beta. So yeah, I'm sorry, I said it out loud. Like, if you drive a Tesla, I've always just thought that's just a beta. Like, and there's no factual data. That's just my opinion. So has Tesla built a really cool brand that a lot of tech people really identify with, and they've sold a ton of cars? I think the Cybertruck has been a huge failure, but they've built a very impressive brand, and I think that's the power of good branding. It shows that even someone that hates it, it's okay because there's enough people that liked it. So your brand doesn't have to be for everybody. You got to know your audience. Right. I'm not Tesla's target audience. They found a way to appeal to the people, the right people, and they've had a successful company. So branding still sticks, and I think that's where a lot of brands go wrong, is they try to make something that appeals to everybody everywhere. And really the best brands know their audience and appeal to them in the right way. And I think Tesla's done a good job with that. I'll give them that.
So you brought up the Cybertruck failure piece of this, right?
Yes.
Which brings us along to our next talking point.
It is the Snow White of electric vehicles.
It's listen, I love Tesla's brand, the look of the Cybertruck.
What were they thinking? Yeah,
like here in Owasso, Michigan, right? We're
terrible,
small,
Charles Barkley
15,000 person town. Not a lot of wealth and money around here. We have one person who drives a Cybertruck.
Yeah,
right. And you see it parked at the Dollar Tree, and it's just so out of place.
It's crazy to look at it. Yeah, it looks like a science experiment gone wrong.
Right. And
you remember the Pontiac Aztec?
Oh yeah.
That was horrible. This is like worse than the Pontiac Aztec.
I had a Pontiac 5, the little sister of the Pontiac Aztec.
I could see that.
Rest in peace, Pontiac, by the way. But so we talk about the Tesla Cybertruck.
Yeah.
We talk about Tesla as a brand really being in position to be a disruptor, right? So we have to kind of think, was it designed that way to accomplish that disruption of visual appeal on the roadways? And if so, isn't it succeeding?
Well, I'm saying, statistically by its sales, it's at this point, it's still considered a failure. It has listen, there's been a lot of people that have bought them. So, in terms of what they anticipated they would sell and what they have sold by every metric that way, right now it's considered a failure. There's still time. It is a very expensive truck also. So yeah, I just think it has not gone as well as they thought it would. And I also think some of that has to do with Elon Musk's recent political affiliations.
Mm-hmm.
He decided when he made that choice to say, I'm going to support Trump. It doesn't, if you say I support Biden or I support Trump or whoever, I support Obama, when you become vocal about that as a business, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, you're making a choice to alienate some people. And because Elon has gone all in on Trump and this whole Doge thing, which I think the Doge thing is awesome, by the way, but he's alienated a lot of people. So I think a lot of the lack of sales of the Cybertruck is partially due to that.
Okay, yeah, an interesting take. I'll probably agree with you on the accuracy of that.
Yeah.
Just knowing what I know about numbers, being a marketing director, it's sales don't necessarily always match what your marketing efforts were. Sometimes there is outside influence, and we'll get to that again,
Sure.
the political portion
ahead.
of it. But I really want to just kind of take it back to design, right? So again, we're America. We are the inventor of the automobile. We are the innovator of the automobile. Every other country that produces automobiles, whether it be China, whether it be Japan, whether it be
Germany,
India, Germany,
Italy,
everybody has followed the general design of what cars look like. And we're talking about muscle cars, you know,
I would
your
say with the
Corvettes
exception
and your
of
Bugattis look similar.
I would say with the exception of Germany and Italy, they've had a lot of original design, but they have a whole different style of car. But other than that, yes, I would agree.
But again, the sleek sexiness of an automobile is always an aside to the performance.
Yeah, America's the leader.
And sometimes the performance has to be a certain way due to aerodynamics, weight distribution. I don't know if you've ever been in the car racing world, but that kind of stuff is paramount to success.
It's everything.
So cars have traditionally always been designed with that in mind. And now comes along Tesla. And you know, the regular X models and the Y models, they look like
aerodynamic,
maybe more futuristic cars. But then you get the Cybertruck that looks like absolutely nothing at all. And what I'm getting to on this is that this futuristic look in today's society is now being made akin to what luxury tech is in general.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you said, we're a big player in tech world, right? We have fancy new gadgets here and there and all the time. Are you noticing a trend that luxury tech is starting to become more boxy?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I never really thought about it that way. I could see that. I think, you know, I said that the Tesla, the X and the Y, that's a vehicle made for the beta. I said that already. I think the Cybertruck is really for the eccentric. It's for that person that likes to be a little different, that likes to drive something that they like the fact that people say it's ugly. They like the fact that people don't like it. That's what they like about it, is how unique it is. And so, you know, I think there is a sub culture for people who really like something just completely out of the box. The Cybertruck has zero curve on it. Zero. Every line is geometric. It is sharp. And, you know, it's just goofy looking. And so I think whatever success they have at is because they've reached that subsect of people that like something that looks techie, that looks unique, that looks eccentric.
Right. And I would say in many ways, that's where Tesla's success has come from.
Sure.
You know, they dominate the headlines anytime news comes out regarding electric vehicles. So now we get to the point where we talk more about Elon Musk and the controversies. And obviously, throughout the duration of this episode until this point, that's been very much something that you've brought up.
Yeah, it's hard not to point that out.
And you're exactly right? Because here's a brand that was built very heavily on the image of its founder, or not its founder, but very heavily on the image of its CEO, right?
Yeah.
Very much built on the back of Elon Musk. So as they would say then, the public image of the company is Elon Musk.
For sure. I mean, he's now the CEO. That, you know, he started as on the board, and then an investor, and then he became the chairman, and now the CEO. And now he's kind of the brains behind the operation, right? And what we've seen with Elon is he's been able to take a lot of companies that were maybe struggling companies or had a good idea, and then just supercharge them into this worldwide phenomenon brand. So, not only is he a genius, I think he's a branding genius. He has figured out how to get products out there. Even what he did with Twitter. People don't like to call it X. I still call it Twitter, but it is now a profitable company that's running way more efficient than it ever has. So turn it into a viable business. So, there is something, like I said, I know he's not the main brainchild behind the invention of Tesla, but certainly the driving force behind it now. And, like I said, I think because people associate him now with politics, and he just decided to go all in on that. It wasn't just an endorsement. I'm going to be part of the team. I'm going to create this new government division, Department of Government Efficiency, which just happens to be named the same thing as his Bitcoin that he came out with a few years ago called Doge.
So before you get too far on that, and I know it's okay. You're passionate about this, man. Like I love that. I love that passion and that drive. But let's back it up because you did mention his purchase of X.
Yeah.
Right. So we're talking about Elon Musk, synonymous with Tesla brand. Any tech company that he seems to touch gains instant profitability and clout. So we're talking about Tesla. We're talking about SpaceX. When he purchased
PayPal, Solar City, OpenAI, Neuralink, The Boring Company, Thud. The list goes on. PayPal. It's crazy.
Yeah. So when he purchased X was where I think the divide started to grow and the shifts started to come. So prior than that, right, Tesla was seen as this clean energy type company. They were the future. They were coming up with innovations. They were really championed by the left. And as such, the right kind of shunned it a little bit.
100%.
Well, Elon Musk buys X and he says, we're going to make it more free speech, which immediately associates him with the right. Now, Tesla stock starts to come down a little bit, right? They're still leading.
Because the association.
It then comes in, like you said, the dark mega era. All right. Elon Musk is right next to Donald Trump, the ultimate bastion of far right, even though he's not far right. He's the ultimate bastion of far right representation.
Sure.
As such, much like the company is associate to its big CEO, that CEO is now associate to this political figure. And now we get the runaround of Tesla becoming a politically dividing brand. So we go right to that. And now Teslas, which were championed by the left, are now being keyed in grocery store parking lots.
Well, and these big environmentalists are standing outside of Tesla factories protesting and literally using gasoline to burn electric vehicles, which is the irony of that is insane. The irony of that is insane.
And then it also kind of goes with media spin, right? We have known for a long time that mining lithium for batteries is not great for the environment.
Right.
As a matter of fact, there are a lot of environmental experts that would argue that it is more harmful to the environment than burning a cleaner fossil fuel like diesel.
Not to mention what you do with the batteries when their lifespan is over.
Right. So before that shift, you wouldn't hear anything about that in the media, right?
Right.
It would be, this is an electric car, it's the way of the future. After Dark Mega, now we're hearing a lot more about that battery industry. So in essence, what we're saying is a brand can be shifted in public perception based on the perception of their CEO and their affiliation.
100%. And I think I've said this on the podcast before too. And I think if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur listening out there, like, you represent your brand more than anybody, more sometimes than your logo, more than your product, more than your services. The people that do business with you get to know you. Some people do business with you because of you. And so I think it is important that owners, entrepreneurs, they be very intentional about what they want to affiliate themselves with. And you don't have to share everything. You can. It's America. It's a free country. I will support everybody's right to say whatever they want, to believe whatever they want, to support whatever they want. But there is always a little
back up a second.
They're turning us off the grid. No, you see that? Like they heard us. They're like, shut them down. There are consequences to those choices. And so it's just something that you have to determine. Now Elon Musk has the money to say, I could lose 3 of these companies and I'm still the richest man in the world by far. So he doesn't really care. But if you're that small business owner that's like struggling to hang on, you might want to be very selective about what you say publicly, about what you endorse publicly. Not that you have to do that. It's America. But it's just a business decision that you might have to say, you know what? I'm going to keep my politics, my religion, my different things just to the side during business hours so that I can, represent my customers. And so, there is a strong connection to the CEO or the entrepreneur with a brand.
So I love that, and you are so right. And being around you for the past 15 years that we've known each other, and the 3 years that I've worked here, that's something that you continually coach business owners and entrepreneurs on. As much as society is telling us you have to pick a side in order for your company to survive, you have to think of the business separate than your personal beliefs.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, like you said, Elon Musk is a misnomer.
Well,
he could lose his companies.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's rich. Haha, whatever. Here's a middle finger.
When you get that Dave Portnoy money, when you get that Mark Cuban money, when you get that Elon Musk money, even that Donald Trump money, then you could say what you want. And then it'll cost you a little bit of money, but you have enough that doesn't matter. But most of us small business owners, we ain't there. And we're trying to service a community of a huge, diverse group of people and beliefs and understandings. And so if you want to have a small town brick and mortar or an online service provider to people that, you live with and are your neighbors, then, again, I would say just be intentional. Be intentional. I have stronger opinions than most people, religiously and politically. I've never backed down from my religious beliefs, especially. I'm a very devout Christian person, and I'm not afraid to say that. But I also understand that if I, put the Christian flag out in front of my business and say, you must pray before you enter the door or whatever, I'm going to lose customers. And it's not really a necessary thing for me to do business with somebody. And so I'm intentional about what I say and how I say it and who I say it to.
Right. So let's wrap this thing up.
Wrap it up, baby.
Let's wrap it up, because I think there's a lot that we talked about that is really thought-provoking for people, but I really want to kind of summarize it into something very concise. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, Tony.
Hit me with it.
In one sentence, what has Tesla taught us about modern branding?
I think know your audience. Know who you're selling to. They've done a brilliant job of that.
Awesome. And then second question here. Can a brand separate itself from the image of its most prominently known public figure?
I can't think of a case study where it has. I don't think so. I think you own something and your name's behind it, unless someone doesn't know you're the owner, I suppose. But if it's well known that you are, I don't see how the owner, the entrepreneur, can separate themselves from the brand.
Awesome. And then where can Tesla go from here?
Whew, that's a good question. I mean, I think, we say it this way on the podcast and with business. If people don't know you, you have a marketing problem. If people don't choose you, you have a branding problem. Tesla does not have a marketing problem. Everybody knows who Tesla is, what they are, what they exist. But they need to define their brand again, because in the midst of all this political whatever, Twitter, then Trump, then MAGA, the brand has gotten associated with things that really have nothing to do with the brand.
Right.
Like Tesla has nothing to do with MAGA. Really, it doesn't. Twitter has nothing to do with politics. But they've gotten convoluted because of the owner in this. So I think they really need to find a way to, once again, define who we are as a brand and put that story out there. And there are going to be people that they've lost along the way. But I think their issue is a branding issue right now. And if they want to get back to where they were and their stock goes back up, they have to find a way to rebuild that loyalty, let people understand the difference between the and tell the brand story. That was way more than one sentence, but that was a hard one to answer in one sentence.
That's okay. And in by way, they would have to reinvent the wheel again and do innovation due to your previous answer.
A gas-powered Tesla.
Perfect. Let's go with it. And then final question, and I think this is really the block, right? If Elon Musk tomorrow sold Tesla, would the company survive?
That's hard to say. Depends on who buys it. Let's say General Motors buys Tesla and they integrate it like they did with Saab and like they with others, and they already have a huge electric initiative, all these electric vehicles by 2035. Could it survive under the umbrella of a much larger auto manufacturer? Maybe. Maybe a rebrand there would be helpful. I guess I don't know. So I guess I would say it depends on who they sell it to.
Right.
It depends on who they sell it to.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great answer, and the discussion was fantastic.
Appreciate it. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, let's put a bow on this thing. This has been episode 10 of Brand Out.
We made it to 10. Wow.
We made it to 10, talking about Teslas. Today's call to action. Let us know in the comments what you think about Tesla and what you think about Elon Musk, because I'm interested to see if it's the same thought or if it differentiates. So drop that in the comments. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. We got Brand Out on every possible podcasting outlet you can absorb. So please follow us there. Tony, how did you feel being in the guest chair?
Yeah, this was nice. I actually like it. Maybe we need to change this more often. I just enjoy sitting back and answering questions. This is a lot of fun.
All right, man. Well, sounds great. We'll catch you on the next episode of Brand Out. Until then, don't forget to stand out.
If you enjoyed this content, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. We want to connect with you. Drop a comment, share your thoughts, and let us know what brands you want us to break down next. Follow us on social media for more branding insights, and remember, keep building, keep branding, and always brand out.